Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action. 24/7, online and live.
Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.rapidfm965.com or radiogarden.com. Better yet, get our mobile app from the Google Play Store. Catch the pulse of the Southeast on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city.
Hey, Oyanam, all Caesar Radio.
Hi, please, can you move your car? You cannot just park in the driveway of a resort. Can you please move?
Why is she so angry?
I'm dead. They're going to kill me. You think you had something to do with this?
But I'll give you 24 hours to come.
Maven activated.
Oh, if I enter your motor, pim pim pim, I could make you to shout.
Correro, your front row seat to the most pressing issues from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. And I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Correro, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
Magic has hit your imagination of TV. A brand new sundial with StarTime's inbuilt technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTime's antenna and satellite signal. StarTime Sundial TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTime's highest bouquet for inbuilt.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Rapid Television News. I am Godwin Amunde. In the headlines, Tinubu Starmer pledged stronger Nigerian-UK ties. Troops kill 80 insurgents in Borno offensive. Nigerians' balance of payment falls to $4.23 billion. Iran strikes Saudi Kuwaiti oil facilities. Senegal rejects CAF ruling, holds AFCON trophy. Details of this and more will come to you in the bulletin. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu, I beg your pardon, has held high-level talks with United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer as part of his ongoing state visit aimed at strengthening diplomatic ties and deepening economic and security cooperation between both countries. The meeting, held at 10 Downing Street in London, forms a key highlight of the president's historic visit. The first by a Nigerian leader in decades, and comes amid renewed efforts to expand trade partnerships, attract investments and reinforce bilateral relations between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. The report.
President Bola Tinubu met Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday at 10 Downing Street in London, where both leaders engaged in closed-door discussions on key areas of mutual interest. The visit marks Nigeria's first state visit to the United Kingdom in over 3 decades, underscoring renewed efforts to strengthen long-standing ties. Earlier, the president was received by King Charles III and Queen Camilla at Windsor Castle, where a series of royal engagements, including a state banquet, were held in his honor. The visit is expected to yield major outcomes, including the signing of a £746 million financing deal for port infrastructure, alongside agreements on trade, defense, and cultural cooperation.
Let me say a few words by way of welcome to Downing Street, and thank you for coming here today on what is a historic state visit, the first inward state visit for 37 years, and it was very good that His Majesty the King hosted us all last night for a most enjoyable dinner with you and your delegation, and it is really good to have you here today. The long and shared history between our countries is obvious and much valued by us, as is the people-to-people contact and engagement that we have, and that enriches our lives here in the United Kingdom, as His Majesty the King mentioned in his speech last night.
We need to nurture the trade agreements, stimulate more economic relationship that will build our two nations. And Nigeria is currently going through a very strong reform of the economy. And other than the volatility that we are, well, we will discuss that further in bilateral discussions.
President Tinubu is expected to conclude the visit with a formal farewell from the royal family, as both nations look to translate diplomatic engagements into tangible benefits for their citizens. Josephine Bitrus, reporting for Rapid TV News.
In politics, fresh leadership crisis has erupted within the African Democratic Congress, ADC, with the party petitioning the United States Embassy in Abuja over an alleged attempt to hijack its leadership structure. In a formal complaint, the party's authentic national chairman, Nafiu Bala Gombe, accused unnamed political actors of undermining its constitution following the resignation of former chairman Ralph Wosu and members of the National Working Committee. Gombe insisted that by constitutional provision, he remains the legitimate leader and warned against external interference. He also dismissed claims linking the crisis to President Bola Tinubu or the ruling APC. The party urged the U.S. to consider sanctions, including visa restrictions against those involved. According to him, the move is necessary to protect internal democracy, uphold the rule of law, and send a strong signal against unconstitutional political actions in Nigeria today. In another development, the Yoruba Rono Leadership Forum has criticized the National Assembly over provisions in the Electoral Act 2026, particularly the exclusion of certificate forgery as grounds for election petitions. The group expressed concern that the amended law limits disputes to electoral malpractice and majority vote issues, effectively removing qualification-related challenges from judicial considerations in elections. Speaking for the forum, President Akin Malaulu warned that the omission could weaken accountability and encourage dishonesty in public life. He also faulted penalties imposed on petitioners and lawyers filing cases outside the approved grounds. The group called on the federal government to release full details of the amended law and review contentious provisions. It cautioned that failure to address the gaps could undermine democratic integrity, weaken legal standards, and erode public confidence in Nigeria's electoral process and governance system going forward. Still in politics, a former senator and Cross River State Commissioner for Education, Professor Stephen Ode, has urged indigents living outside the state to remain politically active and fully engaged in the democratic process. He made the call during an event organized in his honor by Cross River North communities resident in Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa states. The report. The gathering brought together Cross River indigents living in Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa states, who celebrated Professor Ode for his leadership and contributions to education and grassroots development across the state. Addressing the audience, the former lawmaker commended Governor Bassey Otu's administration, noting visible progress since 2023 in key sectors, which he said reflect a strong commitment to transforming Cross River State.
Leadership is not about the titles we carry or the offices we occupy. Leadership is about the lives we touch, the burdens we lift, and the hope we restore. Under the leadership of Governor Bassey Otu, this administration is committed to ensuring that every community in Cross River State, regardless of its size or political affiliation, receive its fair share of democratic dividends.
Professor Ode maintained that the achievements recorded so far justify continuity, stressing that the governor deserves the opportunity to consolidate on ongoing reforms through a second term in office.
To every sons and daughters of Northern Cross River residents in Akwa Ibom and Rivers State, I say you are not forgotten. The distance from home was not diminished, has not diminished your peace or place in our hearts. Your contribution to the development of our host communities are the source of pride to us all.
Community leaders and political associates at the event also lauded Ode's role in advancing educational initiatives and fostering development-driven policies in the state.
I see Yala with this admiration that people are always networking themselves, praying for senatorial.
Nothing stands out. The unity of Yache Nation is unprecedented.
You have continued to serve as a beacon of hope, a mentor and father figure to many of us. You serve as a unifying force that bridges the diverse political interests and strengthens our unity and love among our people.
One thing has stood out for him because he has always asked for unity. He's not asking for anything too much from anybody, just unity. Peace, because where there's unity, there's peace. True or false?
The message is that when somebody does something well, we need to say thank you. Our position as traditional rulers is just to pray for whosoever is doing well and to ask God to bless him the more.
Something that even the deaf can hear and the blind can equally see. So that is why we decided that, a man who has done so much like this should be celebrated.
The event featured a ceremonial cake cutting alongside musical performances, adding color and excitement to the occasion. Kadwin Amundi. Turning to security, troops of Operation Harden K, with support from the Nigerian Air Force, have neutralized at least 80 insurgents in a coordinated night operation in Borno State. The military says the terrorists, including 3 top commanders, attempted to infiltrate a defensive position in Malam Faturi, but were repelled through a combined ground and air assault. According to military authorities, the operation involved precision airstrikes and tactical maneuvers that disrupted the attackers and forced them into retreat. Several weapons, including rifles, rocket launchers, and improvised explosive devices, were recovered. The offensive comes amid renewed efforts to curb insurgency in the region following recent attacks. Security chiefs have since relocated to Maiduguri on presidential orders to strengthen operations. The military says the success has significantly weakened the insurgents' command structure and operational capacity in the Lake Chad Axis and surrounding areas. Elsewhere, Nigeria has recorded one of the sharpest increases in terrorism-related deaths globally, according to the 2026 Global Terrorism Index. The report shows fatalities in the country rose by 46% to 750 in 2025, with Boko Haram and ISWAP responsible for the majority of attacks recorded nationwide. Despite a global decline in terrorism deaths, Nigeria remains among the most affected countries, ranking 4th worldwide. The report highlights that most attacks occurred in Borno State, including some of the deadliest incidents of the year. It also notes that sub-Saharan Africa continues to bear the highest burden of terrorism globally. Experts warn that rising insecurity, youth radicalization, and regional conflict could worsen the situation. The report calls for strengthened counter-terrorism strategies, improved regional cooperation, and sustained international support to address the evolving threat across affected regions and vulnerable communities. Back home, the Imo State Police Command says it has dismantled a terrorist camp linked to the proscribed IPOB and ESN groups, recovering over 300 improvised explosive devices. The operation, carried out in Osu local government area, led to the neutralization of 2 suspects after a gun battle with security operatives. Police Commissioner Audu Boso said the raid was conducted in collaboration with the military and other agencies between February and March. He added that several weapons, vehicles, and other items were recovered, while 75 suspects were arrested in separate operations. The command also foiled an attack on a government facility in Ohaji, Egbema, where 1 suspect was killed. Authorities say security has improved across the state with increased deployments ahead of the Eid celebrations. Residents have been urged to remain vigilant and continue providing timely information to security agencies for sustained peace and stability. As Nigerians prepare to celebrate the Eid al-Fitr festival, travelers heading home are facing rising transport fares, even as passenger numbers at Abuja's Jabi Motor Park appeared lower than in previous years. Our correspondent, Josephine Beatrice, reports that while vehicles are available, many commuters are concerned about the high cost of travel during the festive period.
The Jabi Motor Park in Abuja, usually bustling with travelers during festive periods, witnessed a noticeably lower turnout this season. Although vehicles are lined up, ready to convey passengers to various destinations, the number of commuters remains significantly below expectations compared to previous years. Despite the reduced traffic, transport fares have risen sharply, forcing many travelers to either delay their trips or abandon their plans altogether. Some commuters express frustration, saying the high cost of transportation has made it difficult to travel home for the Eid al-Fitr celebrations.
Today I paid 12,000 naira to go to Ajakuta. Well, the drivers are always saying they have increased fuel, they've increased the fuel, so probably that's the reason why they also increase the transport fare.
I think 13,000. Into Okene. They said it's because of the fuel hike due to the war in Iran and what was it called? Israel and Iran.
Because of the fuel at 9 increase. Before they pay 7,000, 8,000 sometimes. And now we pay 12,000.
Transport operators, however, attributed the fare hike to the rising cost of fuel and other operational expenses, insisting that the increase is necessary to keep their businesses afloat.
What we are collecting here is not enough for us, comparing with the fuel we are buying. We are just collecting money from passengers, going with empty pocket. Most of the time, when we collect money here, you see the money, and when we buy for finish, no, it's anything. You know, so we go with empty pocket. We are working. We are doing paying for for what do you call it? For subsidy.
Say before, when he came here, you can't see any motor again. You had plenty customer. They came here, they just went to the back because they don't increase money for fuel. There's no money to pay.
To alhamdulillah ba za a ce akwai wani ce babu ba wani ba kamar yanayin shekarun baya ba abin da ya riga ya canza yanzu gashi ba kuɗi hannun jama'a ga mai ya tashi ga kuɗin mota ya ƙara ƙaruwa.
They are calling on the federal government to intervene by reducing the pump price of fuel, noting that the current economic realities are placing significant strain on their operations.
Please, I'm begging from the deepest part of my heart, please help us. Let's see what we can do about this fuel scarcity, and let's just help ourselves, because we are also part of a country that produces fuel. We have fuel as our own natural resources.
The government let them increase the fuel to be normal how the fuel before a day.
There's nothing. If they can subsidize the fuel for the drivers, at least so that the commuters can be able to afford the transportation, because most people cannot afford this 13,000, as even small as it is.
Let them reduce the fuel to normal price it is before. We at least that time we are managing it. No matter how it is, we go on with something, with a peanut. But now we are going with nothing. From Okene to here, end of the day, I'll go with my 5,000 naira. That doesn't make sense.
Me, the two I want them to do now, I beg, please and please, anything where they go do, may they just reduce money for this fuel for them. Because that's the worst problem for this our country. This fuel matter, if say the fuel, where they say they don't come out the subsidy, five something, they are going to manage it. You see people that are traveling.
To ni kene gwamnati yanzu da shugabanninmu da a tausaya mana a duba mana da Allah wannan yana handa ya al'umma cikin yanzu a taimaka a duba al'umma a tausaya musu wannan da ya riga ya tashi ya sako tunda yanayin tashin mai ne sa abin da ya riga ya canza kudin mota ya riga ya tashi tafiya ta gagarin mutane to a tausaya a duba mana da Allah rage wannan da dama za ya zama to ya yi kasa.
Observers say the development reflects the broader economic challenges facing many Nigerians, particularly during festive periods when travel demand is typically high. Amid the euphoria of the Eid al-Fitr celebration, many Nigerians are hoping for relief that will enable families to always reunite without excessive financial burden. In Abuja, Josephine Bitrus, Rapid TV News.
Also, amid the Salah celebrations, Abuja's markets are experiencing fewer customers than expected, even with price reductions on many food items. Our correspondent, Linda Ike, reports from Utako Market on the impact of falling prices and tight household budget.
Despite lower food prices, customer turnout remains low this Salah as many shoppers struggle with tight budgets. Traders at Abuja's Utako Market report lower prices for items such as bags of rice, spices, garri and meat compared to last year. However, many note that buyers are staying home due to tight household budgets worsened by rising fuel prices, which increase transportation costs. Some traders say fewer people are visiting the market than in previous years, citing high living costs as the main reason for low sales.
No increase, not the same. It's why they said last year, now they said this year. People they talk, say money no deal, they complain. Since now I don't see anybody now. I never see a person. They have no money for town. Because people they talk say na fuel, na caution.
Ana zuwa alhamdulillah ana sai amma dai sinikin ba wai kamar da ba yanda ake yi sosai yanda ya kamata. Tunda yanzu kin ga yanda ake sayan kayan kamar shekarar da ta wuce ba kamar yanzu ba gaskiya. Tunda kamar ana jibi sallah ko gobe sallah amma cinikin yanda ka san ba ma gobe sallah ba ko jibi sallah. Cinikin ya dan yi kasa.
So customers dey now go no about before they start to do this passing. As I see this passing, when they come, before customers don't they come plenty customers, they come buy plenty lotto. But this current Salah is first customers made them pull the market. Hope to now nothing there for this market I swear. Customer no they enter I swear. Like say pouring or local. You know say na different foreign pouring last year you don't reach like 75, 80 massive. Local, you don't reach like 60, 65 to 60, 50.
Other vendors reviewed that chicken, tomatoes, and pepper remain expensive due to supply shortages, driving up the cost of these essential items.
People are patronizing, but it's not as last year, honestly. And the price of this year is a bit higher compared to last year. That may be the change of the oil price.
Big basket tomato cost 55,000. Last year 35. Yes, this year the price off. Even pepper this year it cost past last year.
Meanwhile, buyers offered mixed views. Some say prices are still high, while others find certain goods more affordable. Many suggested government subsidies on transport and basic foods to boost market activity before festivities.
In regards to the prices of things in the market, I would say for this market, the prices are quite fair. With the expectations I had in mind for a budget I had in mind, I was able to buy a little above what I wanted to. So being new to the environment and new to the market as well, I would say the prices are fair. The government should do better for its citizens.
Even if you want to go and buy plantain for here, and I know any small, like 3,000, everything is rice. Now government know what to do about it. Me, I don't know. They have to bring everything down.
With budgets tight and prices fluctuating, the festive season poses real challenges for Nigerians. Families and traders alike are hoping for relief that will allow everyone to celebrate without undue hardship. Linda Ike, Rapid TV News.
On the global health front, a new United Nations report reveals that about 4.9 million children died before their 5th birthday in 2024, despite decades of progress in child survival rates. The report highlights that many of these deaths were preventable, with newborns accounting for nearly half of the fatalities recorded worldwide. The findings show that sub-Saharan Africa remains the most affected region, followed by Southern Asia. Major causes include complications during childbirth, infections, malaria, and malnutrition. Health experts warned that progress has slowed significantly in recent years, raising concerns about funding gaps and access to health care. The report calls for renewed investment in primary health care, nutrition, and immunization programs. It also stresses the need for stronger political commitment and global cooperation to ensure that vulnerable children, especially in conflict-affected areas, have a better chance of survival and long-term development outcomes. In another development, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has issued a public warning over the circulation of counterfeit cancer drugs in Nigeria. The agency identified fake versions of Avastin and Tecentriq, commonly used in the treatment of advanced cancers, as part of the affected products discovered in circulation. NAFDAC said the alert followed reports from healthcare professionals and investigations by Roche Nigeria, which confirmed discrepancies in packaging and batch numbers. The agency warned that counterpart medicine may contain harmful substances or incorrect dosages, posing serious health risks to patients. It has directed officials nationwide to intensify surveillance and remove the products from circulation. Healthcare providers and patients have been advised to source medicines only from authorized suppliers and report suspicious drugs. Authorities say the warning is critical to safeguarding public health and preventing treatment failures among vulnerable patients across the country. Adora Oyechere Sydney Jack, founder of the Young Female for Leadership Network, YFFLN, has urged young women to actively build leadership skills, engage in civic activities, and harness communication to drive social change. She delivered the call during the 2026 International Women's Day program hosted by YFFLN at the Department of Mass Communication, Imo State University. The report.
The event gathered students, lecturers, gender advocates, and development partners to discuss leadership development and empowerment for young women. Delivering a keynote address titled Give to Gain, From Skills to Empowerment, Sydney Jack emphasized the media as a powerful tool for shaping national narratives and driving social change. She noted that when young women learn to control narratives and communicate effectively, they position themselves as future leaders. Highlighting the legacy of leadership among women from Imo State and the Igbo community, she cited figures like Margaret Ebo and Obi Ezekwesili, whose advocacy and public service have made global impacts. Sydney Jack encouraged students to overcome fear and self-doubts, noting that personal limitations often pose the greatest obstacle to progress. She also explained that the Young Female for Leadership Network equips young women for leadership through mentorship, skill development, and civic engagement. Earlier, Imo State YFFLL coordinator Amarachi Agupusi praised the initiative for building leadership capacity and civic consciousness among participants.
So we are happy that we are doing this in mass communication department today. We are reaching out to the young girls. We are trying to teach them how to bake, how to make the gele, how to do different skills. Yeah, we have a health practitioner who has been telling us about our menstrual hygiene as women since morning. So we've had a lot of people. I believe that most of them, they don't have skills before now. Most of them are going home to learn how to actually maximize what they learned here. They are going home to use these skills to feed. Most students are struggling. So I know when they do it for one or two persons like the gele.
Resource persons further advised students to combine academic knowledge with practical media skills to remain competitive in a rapidly evolving communications landscape.
In talking to the young girls or young ladies who participated in today's event, I harped on the need for them to appreciate and understand the fact that women are givers. But giving here entails giving both your time, giving your talent, and giving your resources back to society. How do I mean? In raising a child, as a woman, you're giving your time to that child, and you ensure that you impact positively to that child. And when as a mother, you raise good children in terms of productivity, time management, God-fearing, resourcefulness, it has a multiplier effect on the wider society.
As demand for practical skills grow, programs like this demonstrates the value of preparing young women for meaningful roles beyond the classroom, into leadership and societal impacts.
In Umuahia, Abia State, a remarkable story of resilience and craftsmanship is unfolding along a busy roadside. For over 3 decades, a female artisan has carved a niche in the specialized craft of watch and clock repair, a field largely dominated by men. Beyond earning a livelihood, her dedication is helping to preserve a fading trade in an increasingly digital age. Our correspondent, Faith Kevin, tells us more in this report.
On a busy roadside at Isi Gates in Umuahia, amid the buzz of traffic and market traders, tiny tools move with precision and the delicate tick of clocks fills the air. Here, a woman quietly repairs time itself, proving that skill has no gender. Mama Antonia has been repairing watches, clocks and calculators for over 30 years. Trained by her husband, she has turned the roadside stall into a hub of precision and patience, sustaining her family and raising her children with the same craft she learned.
She has reached up to 30-something years. The time I used to work for somebody, and if that person travel, so you give me battery and the pin. So anybody that comes to repair watch, I collect the watch and put battery for the person. If you repair watch, you cannot lack or go to any person to say, give me money or dash me something. Because anytime when you come, you pray for God. So that when you reach, God will provide work for you. Before you go, you can get money for you to use to buy something, anything you want to buy.
Despite occasional skepticism, Mama Antonia has earned a reputation as a formidable watch repairer. Her small stall may seem modest, but its strategic location ensures she meets many customers daily, keeping the age-old craft alive in a world moving toward digital devices. With skilled hands, she dismantles, cleans, and fixes intricate mechanisms, proving that the dying craft of mechanical repair is far from obsolete. Beyond repairs, Mama Anthony hopes to inspire young people to take up the trade. She believes that with guidance and encouragement, the craft can become lucrative and attract a new generation of skilled technicians. On this roadside in Umuahia, Mama Anthony is more than a watch repairer. She's a custodian of time, a mentor, and proof that skill knows no gender. In a world racing towards the digital, her hands keep the past and the present in motion, one tick at a time. Faith Kevin, reporting for Rapid TV News.
You're still watching Rapid Television News. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, the news continues shortly.
Dr. Joseph. Name is Martha Alu.
My name is Victor Arke.
My name is Divine Alex.
My name is Esther Omen.
My name is Arthur James Brooks.
My name is Godwin Sunday.
I am Ijoma Victor.
My name is Cynthia Agbo.
Josephine Bichu.
I bet you already know that this is
Rapid Television.
If you're just joining us, it's to watch Rapid Television News. Now let's take you to some business stories. Nigerians' balance of payment recorded a sharp 38% decline, dropping to $4.23 billion, according to new data from the central bank. The current account remained in surplus but fell by 26.2% to $14.04 billion in 2025, down from $19.03 billion in 2024. The decline was driven largely by a 14.4% drop in crude oil exports, which fell to $31.54 billion despite a strong 21.4% rise in gas exports. However, the goods account posted a stronger surplus, supported by refined petroleum exports from the Dangote refinery, which also reduced fuel import costs significantly. However, the financial account reversed into a net borrowing position following a steep fall in foreign portfolio investment inflows. While foreign direct investment rose sharply, rising service cost and increased investor payouts deepened pressure. External reserves grew to $45.75 billion, offering some economic stability. Up next, more business reports coming your way.
We begin on the currency market, where Nigeria's naira is gaining strength even as global tensions reshape investor sentiment and central bank decisions across major economies. The naira extended its rally against the euro this week, appreciating significantly from about 1,624 naira per euro on March 10 to around 1,556 naira per euro. Market analysts attribute this gain to increased demand for naira-denominated assets, supported by improved investor confidence and sustained liquidity from the central bank. Despite a recent 50 basis point interest rate cut to 26.5%, the move has been interpreted as a signal of economic stability, with external reserves projected to hit $51 billion by year-end. Technically, the euro-naira pair has entered a short-term bearish phase, declining nearly 3.6% in just over a week. However, analysts warn that the naira must hold key support levels to sustain its momentum. Globally, the US dollar is gaining ground against the euro, driven by rising geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and inflation concerns. Oil prices surged amid supply disruptions, raising fears of stagflation, and reinforcing the dollar's dominance as a safe haven currency. While currency movements reflect investor confidence and global shocks, Nigeria's broader external position is also facing pressure, as seen in its latest balance of payments data. The Nigeria's current account surplus dropped sharply by over 65% to $1.4 billion in the fourth quarter of 2025, according to the new data from the central bank. This decline was largely driven by weaker export earnings, particularly from crude oil. Alongside a surge in import demand, the country's balance of payments surplus also fell to $2.67 billion, signaling reduced net inflows into the economy. A closer look at the data shows crude oil exports fell by more than 20%, while non-oil imports jumped nearly 25%, further squeezing the trade balance, although diaspora remittances and portfolio investments provided some cushion. Foreign direct investment declined, highlighting weaker long-term investor confidence. The figures underscore Nigeria's continued vulnerability to external shocks, especially due to its heavy reliance on oil exports. These external pressures are unfolding against a tense global backdrop, where geopolitical risks are already rattling financial markets and shaping investor behavior worldwide. The European stock market fell sharply on Thursday, with the Stoxx Europe 600 index dropping more than 2%, as escalating conflicts in the Middle East triggered widespread investor caution. Major indices across France, Germany, the UK, and Italy all recorded losses, with mining stocks leading the decline amid falling gold and silver prices and rising production costs. The sell-off comes as tensions intensify following attacks on key energy infrastructure in Iran and Qatar, pushing oil prices higher and stoking inflation fears. While most sectors traded lower, energy companies saw gains, reflecting the surge in oil prices. Meanwhile, central banks across Europe are holding interest rates steady as policymakers assess the economic fallout of the crisis and growing risks of a global stagflation scenario. And that wraps up today's business news, where currency gains, external pressures, and global tensions continue to shape the economic outlook. I'm your host, Divine Alex. Stay informed and stay ahead. Good evening.
On the global stage now, tensions in the Middle East escalated as drone attacks hit major oil facilities in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Saudi authorities confirmed that the drone struck the Samrev refinery in Yanbu, a key export hub linked to the petroleum pipeline. The attack comes amid ongoing conflict involving Iran, which has intensified strikes on energy infrastructure across the region. Just a day earlier, Qatar's Ras Laffan gas facility suffered significantly damage, further rattling global energy markets already on edge. Meanwhile, Kuwait reported fires at two major refineries, Mina Abdullah and Mina Al Ahmadi, though officials say the situation has been contained. The combined refining capacity of the affected facilities is substantial, raising concerns about supply disruptions. As a result, global oil prices surged, with Brent crude climbing above $115 per barrel, reflecting growing fears of prolonged instability in critical energy corridors. Now to the United States. The FBI has launched an investigation into a former top counterterrorism official following his resignation over the ongoing Iran war. Joseph Kent stepped down as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, citing ethical concerns and disagreement with the conflict. In his resignation later, Kent argued that Iran posed no immediate threat and claimed the war was influenced by external pressures. Reports indicate the FBI probe into alleged leaks of classified information began months before his departure. However, the White House has strongly rejected Kent's claims, insisting the decision to engage in the conflict was based of credible intelligence. Former President Donald Trump also criticized Kent, describing him as weak on security. The controversy has sparked debate within U.S. political and security circles, raising questions about internal divisions over the war and the handling of sensitive national security information. In West Africa, Ghana is set to present a historic resolution at the United Nations General Assembly seeking to declare the transatlantic slave trade the grievous crime against humanity. The initiative, led by President John Mahama, reflects renewed efforts to secure global recognition and reparatory justice for the atrocities of slavery. The proposal is backed by the African Union, Caribbean nations, and advocacy groups worldwide, emphasizing the lasting social and economic impacts of the trade. Ahead of the vote, a series of commemorative events will be held in New York, including a red-laying ceremony and a high-level forum on reparations. If adopted, the resolution would mark the first of its kind in the UN's history. Ghana is urging member states to support the move, describing it as a defining moment in the pursuit of justice, historical accountability, and global acknowledgement of one of the humanity's darkest eras. Up next is the entertainment segment.
Welcome to Entertainment Roundup, where music, culture, and celebrity stories meet real life moment. Let's dive into what's trending. Afrobeat star Asake has opened up about his deeply personal chapter, that is, his strained relationship with his father, Fati Oduzi, during his early years. Speaking in an interview with Corti CEO, the singer revealed that his father strongly opposed his decision to pursue music, forcing him to leave home at the age of 15. Asake described both of them as equally stubborn, explaining that their differences made it difficult to even face his father at the time. However, despite tension, Asake says love was never lost. In fact, he emphasized that bond with his father remains unbreakable, noting that nothing could change that relationship. Interestingly, the story now has a softened ending as the two have reconciled. Meanwhile, Afrobeat singer Mr. Real is raising serious concern about the state of the nation and the music industry response to it. The Legbegbe Corona emphasized fellow artists and fans of counting to release music and party despite raising insecurity across Nigeria. According to him, the daily reality of troubling news has made it difficult for him to even consider dropping new songs. And that's your entertainment roundup, keeping you in on headline at the time. Stay tuned as Rapid TV News continues. I am Victoria Adek.
Let's take some sports stories now. Senegal has refused to return the African Cup of Nations trophy following a controversial ruling by the Confederation of African Football. CAF overturned the final result and awarded Morocco a 3-0 victory after Senegal's players walked off the pitch during stoppage time. The protest followed a penalty decision that sparked outrage among Senegal's team and officials. Despite the ruling, Senegal's Football Confederation has described the decision as unjust and unprecedented. Meanwhile, officials insist the trophy will not be handed back, accusing CAF of bias and corruption. The dispute has generated widespread debate across African football, with many questioning the integrity of officiating and governance. Senegal is expected to challenge the ruling at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, setting the stage for a prolonged legal battle that could shape the future of football administration on the continent. Reacting to the controversy, CAF President Patrice Motsepe says Senegal has the full right to appeal the decision, stripping it of the AFCON title. He emphasized that all member nations are entitled to fair hearing processes, including escalation to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Motsepe acknowledged that the incident has damaged confidence in African football and highlighted the need to uphold integrity and transparency in decision-making. Furthermore, he stressed that no country would receive preferential treatment, noting that reforms are ongoing to strengthen judicial independence within CAF. Motsepe admitted that long-standing concerns about officiating and governance persist, describing them as legacy issues. He assured fans that steps are being taken to restore trust and credibility, adding that public perception will ultimately undermine confidence in CAF's decisions and the future of football governance across Africa. Finally, Iran has confirmed it will continue preparations for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, despite rising tensions with the United States. Football Federation President Mehdi Taz stated that while the team may boycott travel to the U.S., it remains committed to participating in the tournament. Iran is scheduled to play group matches in American cities, but uncertainty now surrounds those futures due to the strained diplomatic relations. Meanwhile, discussions are ongoing with FIFA about possibly relocating Iran's matches to Mexico. However, World Football's governing body maintains that the tournament schedule remains unchanged. The situation adds a geopolitical dimension to the competition, raising concerns about logistics and participation. The 2026 World Cup will be hosted across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, making it one of the most complex tournaments in history amid evolving global tensions. And that's about the size of the news tonight. But before we go, here's a recap of our major stories. Tinubu's Tama pledged stronger Nigerian-UK ties. Troops kill 80 insurgents in Borno offensive. Nigerians' balance of payment falls to $4.23 billion. Iran strikes Saudi, Kuwait oil facilities. Senegal reject CAF ruling, hold Afghan trophy. Thanks very much for being with us tonight. And for our Muslim brothers, I wish you Barka Salah in advance. On behalf of the production team, do have yourself a lovely night rest. I'm Godwin Amundi.
Time is power. Our lives are powered by the sun. As the sun rises, so do we. As we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your morning with our hybrid all-in-one inverter, powering our prosperity and happiness.
Making the shell. Start time solar.
But also nurture what is dear to us, powering trust and support, empowering us to do things that really matters. Start Times Solar. Power your life.
From the soil beneath our feet to the tables across the world, agriculture is the heartbeat of Nigeria's future. Yet challenges persist. Limited finance, outdated methods, policy gaps, and untapped opportunities. The Green Line is here to change that. A groundbreaking weekly television feature that connects policy with practice, farmers with markets, and innovation with impact. We dig deep into the full agricultural value chain, from land preparation to mechanization, financing, food preservation, exports, and beyond. The Green Line isn't just a show, it's a national development platform. Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. only on Rapid TV, Star Times Channel 176.